So now you are pouring into future leaders.
Yes, I am. I am an adjunct professor at DePaul University, and I created a class called Culture and Strategic Communication Campaigns because I want the folks who are coming in the industry to understand the importance of having cultural competency. The work that I do at Flowers Communications Group, we reach and respect multicultural audiences. We work with some of the world's biggest brands, and we help our clients understand how important it is to include these consumers, not just from a buying power standpoint, because Cheryl at Nielsen, who's one of our clients, actually talks about buying power a lot, but also because so many of the trends that are set and what culture looks like comes from these consumers. And so we have to really be understanding of how we communicate to them, what types of programs we're putting together that also have resonance in the general market.
Yeah. You know, some of reading the tea leaves for what's coming down the pike in the mass market is demonstrated in even let's go all the way back to the Black female demographic. You could even say LGBTQ of color. They're driving a lot of trends that end up being mass market. And, you know, I'm also an adjunct professor at TCU. And, you know, it was interesting because we had a conversation. I open up every last one of my classes with a current events question. And last Tuesday, I think it was, I opened up with the question, who is, and I hope I don't mispronounce it because I've never heard it said out loud. It's Jalea or Jalaya. Okay. And who is she? And there was kind of a blank stare that happened.
Wow.
Now, here's
even
the
after
thing.
The New York Times article?
Well, that was the point, right? The demographic of my class is primarily white female. There's one young man in the class, and there's one Black female who happened to not be in the room that day. So there's kind of a blank stare and a big pregnant pause. And I said, I'll give you a hint. Does anyone know who Charlie is? And then one of the students said, oh, wait a minute. I know exactly who she is. She gets to Googling. She's like, yeah, that's who she is. She's worth like over $600,000. And then somebody else said, wait a minute. Is Jalaya the one that actually made up the renegade dance? It dawned on them what was going on. So this 14-year-old Black girl comes up with this dance that is like the craze on TikTok. And another white youngster,
TikToker,
you know, teen, tween, whatever she is, who can actually dance. The girl can dance, you know, kind of took credit for it. And everybody thought that she was the one that came up with it. And actually, it's a different version. You know, this is the one that goes like this, right? Instead of the dab, right?
Well, I don't know the dances, but I do know the theme and what you're trying to explain to the students. And this coming Thursday for my class, we're talking about cultural appropriation versus appreciation.
There you go.
And unpacking different moments in time from what Pepsi and Kylie Jenner did to, you know, when we look at how these trends or phenomenon take place in social media and then who takes the credit for it, who monetizes it, who then becomes known for it. I think social media is great in that we are able to look at the forensics of things now and see where trends have started and who should receive credit for what. So that cultural appropriation conversation, I'm really looking forward to it because my students as well are majority white and for me and female. And for me, I want to imbue them with the understanding that you can grow your cultural competency. You now have this lens to be able to see examples like this and say, we're not going to pick out the TikToker when we know the originator. Right. And we need to give her credit. She needs to be an NBA All-Star doing her dance in front of crowds and getting points. So there we go.
Oh, it was awesome too, wasn't it?
It was.
So my class has made a promise to me. They're actually going to teach me how to renegade. And we're going to do it for TikTok because I'm now on TikTok now. And when I go to Lane College this weekend, we're going to do some little dance for TikTok. But I liked what you said about the forensics of it, because if you go all the way back to Elvis and Chuck Berry, if they had the internet, we'd be able to tell the story even more clearly who this came from. And now we got attorneys that are actually looking at readdressing this idea of who owns it and the idea of IP or intellectual property, because the argument was that you can't copyright dance moves, right? But now you call it the forensics. They can literally take side by side, you know, TikTok duets if you want to, and look at them side by side and say, that's her image, that's her likeness, and they're beginning to see where they might be able to take people to court.
For sure. And for us as a, African-American women or African-American creators, it's important, right? It's important to get that credit. It's not just about the fame, it's about the fortune and the monetization that, if someone is co-opting a hairstyle, a fashion design, which, there's a family who has a reality show that has a track record of doing that. We need to look at this critically as cultural folks in the communication space. Who should we partner with? Because influencers, when we work with influencers in the multicultural space, we know that sometimes they get the short end of the stick. Black media sometimes gets the short end of the stick. They're at the end of the red carpet trying to get interviews from entertainment and celebrity folks. Why is that in 2020? So we really need to have a critical eye to these things. It's not just, oh, it's a dance. No, ma'am. There's a whole ecosystem that gets created around her now partnering with brands and being in commercials and things like that. And so, it's kind of, for me, it's critically important to make sure that stuff gets talked about.